the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Let me kick this off before I introduce Nathan to you with a quick, brief quote from the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 2362. And I quote, "Sexuality is a source of joy and pleasure. The Creator himself established that in the generative function, spouses should experience pleasure and enjoyment of body and spirit. Therefore, the spouses do nothing evil in seeking this pleasure and enjoyment, as long as it's within marriage," right? So there you go. All right, so listen. Join me, please, in welcoming Nathan Bartell, married for 25 years, 5 amazing children, 20 years of ministry to engaged and married couples. First off, Nathan, let's go out to New Mexico to Mary. Hi, Mary. What can we do for you today? Thanks for calling in.
Well, hello, gentlemen. Thank you. I just wanted to ask, I know that in the Bible it says that, he is yours, you're his, and basically you shouldn't deprive yourself from him and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know what is healthy and what is not. For me, it's like I'm heading straight to the other bedroom, and I avoid him at all costs. And just for a couple of reasons. And it's just, I just feel like, that's, he just sees it as sex, and it doesn't matter, right? And it does, but but most of the time it doesn't, right? And another thing I just wanted to mention, when we do embrace, we try to say a prayer before, because the evil one, he'll love nothing more for your thoughts to just be on other things or maybe other people instead of your husband. So
interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you, Mary. Yeah, Nathan, what thoughts do you have for Mary?
I love that you pray. That's something that I teach explicitly, that this is holy ground, and you should pray when you're on holy ground, and that's fantastic. I would. My general thoughts are, first of all, there's no right answer to frequency. We talked about that in the last segment. Yeah. So in that scripture passage that you're referring to, it's in 1 Galatians 7, for anyone who wants to look that up. St. Paul does say, don't deprive each other. And then he explicitly says, but I say this and by way of concession, not as a command. So prudence and charity should always be the principles that we use when we are, figuring out how to practically live out our marriage. Prudence and charity. The other thing is, you mentioned several reasons. So maybe you have understood what's going on in your own heart, but I really recommend for anyone in this situation to get really curious about yourself and about your spouse. And ask the question, why? Why am I hesitant? Why do I not enjoy the marital act? There can be reasons from the beliefs that we talked about earlier. There can be discomfort. There could be pain. Maybe it's just not enjoyable. There's a lot of different reasons that can affect someone's levels of desire. And understanding what those reasons are can be really helpful to then take some practical action or start addressing some of those influences.
Yeah. Nathan, I agree 100%. I mean, as a therapist, Mary, there's two things I would say. One is, it's really important after you go through this process of curiosity in your own mind. Okay, what is it about this thing that I'm not enjoying? I'm not interested in. I'm running as far away from as I can. What is that's going on that's blocking me from this thing that God actually designed for me and that He wants me to participate in? Once you figure that out, then I think you got to educate your husband and say, here's the problem I'm having, and here's why I'm reluctant, and here's what's getting in the way, and maybe you can help me with this, or maybe if you shift it or you change a few things. So I think that's part of the educational process that us men really need our wives to help us with, to understand what works, what doesn't work, what's going on for them, because we're going to be clueless. So that's first thing. have the conversation with your husband to help him understand what's going on and what he could do different. And then the second thing is, oftentimes, even if we're not in the mood, and it sounds like, Mary, perhaps you do this, even if we're not in the mood, this is part of how we give a sacrificial gift to our spouse. And we do sacrificial acts of kindness for our spouse all the time. We do laundry, we cook meals, we constantly are doing things we don't feel like doing, but it's a kindness that we do. Well, and this can be in the same category, that I may not be in the mood, but it's important to you. I want you to be happy, and so I can give this gift of myself to you because it will bring pleasure to you, even if it's not even if it's something I don't want to do right now. So it can be a wonderful sacrificial gift. So those are my two thoughts. Educate your husband, and it's okay to give the gift, even if you're not particularly interested in doing it. It's a wonderful gift of love for your husband. So there you go. All right, Mary, thanks so much for calling in. Nathan, great answer there. And I think, you used a word that I use quite a lot when I work with my couples, and that's curiosity, right? And we need to be curious as to what's going on in each other's world so that we can respond to that.
Yeah, each other and our own world. Sometimes we're not introspective enough and curious enough about what's in our own world and our own hearts. So
That's
both
very
of those
true.
things are really important.
That was the Best of the Week on Relevant Radio. The best way to listen to the Best of the Week is on the Relevant Radio app, free and always free. Download and share the #1 free Catholic app today in the App Store.